Hi friends, how we doing? It's Thursday. I feel like it's really close today for some reason. Let's see if we can. The same setup as it always is. Let's see. All right. Ooh, now you're low. Cutting off my hand. How's everyone doing? It's Thursday. It's a sunnier day than last Thursday. Hope everyone's doing great. It's Getting Tipsy with Erin. And it's February, which means it's my homebuyer bootcamp month, and it's week 4. It's my last week of the homebuyer bootcamp. Hope everyone is doing great. I'll give you a few minutes for everyone to jump on. That beautiful sun outside. Last week it was like gray and gross. They said it was going to snow. It just rained. Again, Getting Tipsy with Erin every Thursday at 4. Thanks for joining me. This is week 4 of my buyer bootcamp. It is episode 8 of Getting Tipsy with Erin. If you've missed the first 3 weeks of buyer bootcamp, we have discussed buyer consultation, getting pre-approved, and then setting you up on a custom home search. So the first 3 steps of finding your dream home for home buyers. And if you want to go back and check them out, you can check them out in the Facebook videos. I always download this to Facebook, so you'll find that on Facebook. Or I then convert them, and they're on Instagram and on the IGTV channel. Just a little disclosure. Last week, so episode 7 or the 3rd week of this series, after I downloaded this, my phone went into what I found out is called a boot loop and wouldn't restart. And it just had the little Apple symbol on the front. And Getting Tipsy Thursday turned into Really Annoyed Friday. And I spent the entire day trying to get my phone serviced and ended up getting a brand new phone on Friday. And because of the whatever bug it was, rather than just reload all the software, which they've so conveniently made it now easy to just take everything on your backup, I've had to recreate everything. So it's been a week of just trying to get my phone back up in order and put all my passwords back in and get everything readjusted. So it's been fun. But anyway, so week 7 will not be episode 3 of the Buyer Bootcamp. It's not on Instagram. It's here on Facebook. So week 4 of my Buyer Bootcamp is, what do we do now? We found the house. What do we do now? And so everyone, get ready, getting tipsy. Grab your drink, whether it's beer or wine or, like usual, my big gulp. We found the one, so what's next? So we've toured the home. It checked off all the boxes, and this is it. Before we go taking down walls, Sally, let's make sure we saw the bedrooms. And before we go run and write an offer, we have to ask ourselves a couple questions first to make sure we're making the right decision. Before we get all emotional in this, hey Joe, how you doing? Before we get into the process of writing a contract, let's answer a few questions. First, how long are you planning on living in the home? The house may answer your needs for right now, and that may be okay. But does it answer your needs if you're going to be living there for 5 or 10 years? And is that your plan? We live in a military town, so some people know that they're only going to live in this house for 2 or 3 years, and then they're going to move on. Or some people may be planning on living in this house for 2 or 3 years and then turning it into an investment property and moving on to another house. Or some people may say, this is going to be my house for the next 10 years or 20 years. So let's think about that, and does this house answer those needs? Second question. Have we looked beyond the Pottery Barn decor, the Instagram-worthy setups, furniture, flat lays? Have we looked beyond that? And have we made sure that the location, the layout, the size of the home fits your needs? There's all these questions that we need to ask ourselves about the things we can't change. If you go back in my video series, it's episode 2. It's the most important thing about home buying when you're looking at homes is what are the things you can't change in a home. It's not the paint. It's not the, there's certain things you can't change in a home. So that's a much longer episode. But let's ask ourselves that question. And then the third question is about the cost of the home and how does that reflect how much you want to spend in a home? It's important to think beyond just what's the big number, what's the ticket price, the sales price of the house or the list price of the house. What's the breakdown? What's the monthly cost going to be to you of the mortgage payment? And that's including your taxes and your insurance. And depending on how you live as far as your budget, that may also be including your utilities. So let's look at that and figure out if that works for you. And it may be something that you're willing to go a little bit higher for or a little bit lower for. But let's look at those numbers and figure out if that works for you. And once we've gone through all that, we've gone through those three questions, because the house has checked off the boxes. Now we've gone through those three questions. Then we can make a decision in confidence. Instead of doing anything emotional, we can answer in confidence that this is the right house for you. And this is where we're going to get into entering the negotiation portion of the home buying process. And this is the fun part for me. Hey, Ray, how you doing? And it's important to try as best as possible to not let your emotions get in the way of this process. And you want to make really smart real estate decisions. For those of you that know me, I worked in the NFL for 9 years, and every day in practice, we always ran a period of practice that was either the 2-minute drill or the 4-minute drill. And that's because you wanted to run that part of the game, because that tends to be the most emotional part of the game, and most games are decided in the 2-minute drill or in the 2-minute period of the game. And you want to go through that practice daily because you want to take that emotion out. It's the same thing with real estate. Real estate is emotional because it's where you're going to live. It's where you're going to raise your family. It's where you're going to cook dinner every night. It's where you're going to lay your head every night. And you want to take that emotion out of this business decision. So it's time to write the offer. And we're going to sit down and submit it with the sellers. I'm not going to go into all the offer details because this contract, when my mom first started selling, the contract was 1 page. It's now 45 pages. The contract itself is 16, but there's a lot of disclosures that go with it and make it all crazy. So I'm not going to get into all that today because we all don't have hours. But it's something I talk to my buyer clients about, and we'll sit down and we'll go through it. We're also going to talk about some different scenarios because we may offer something, but they may be willing to go somewhere else. And again, that's part of the negotiation. So I need to know, let's say the house is listed at $275. We may be offering $250, but they may be willing to go to $265. And I need to know that. And I also need to figure out, based off of what their offer is and what we're asking closing costs, like where we can kind of finagle in the negotiations. So again, that takes the emotion out of it later when the seller comes back with a counter, how I can react with that and how they can react with it, if we've set those parameters ahead of time. So we'll walk through all that. We're going to decide on offer price, earnest money deposit, closing date, what you want to include versus exclude as far as items to convey, as well as, what type of loan, that information, and then any contingencies to include, any inspections, things like that. And again, some of this is going to be based on you as the buyer, and some of it's going to be based on the seller and their situation and how we can best utilize both parties' situations to get the best benefit for you as the buyer. And this is where, as a buyer, the best thing you can do is rely on your realtor as an experienced realtor to be able to navigate those waters and use their experience to know how it's going to work best for you, to benefit you. It's what we do every day. So we know how things, and look, it's not 100% proof, but a lot of times we know how to, I don't want to say work the system, but we know how people are going to work in certain situations. And so we know how to get the max benefit for you. When we come to an agreement with the sellers, that's when we start moving through the various parts of the offer. And we're going to make sure that you meet all of those deadlines. I have a template that I'm very big on making the process easy for my buyers. If you have purchased with me before, you've received, or sold with me before, actually, you've received what I call the next steps email. And it's upon ratification, I send you a copy of that ratified contract. And it says next steps. And then I literally outline what the next steps are. I put in bold what the deadlines are. I give you contact information. I give you I refer some, home inspectors, settlement companies, real estate attorneys, etc. And if you want other ones, I offer other ones. And then I offer to set those files up for you. I offer to set up the inspections for you. And I work with you to get those done. And I think it's important as your realtor that you can rely on your realtor to help you with that process. Because again, it's something that most buyers only do a few times in their life, and it's something that we do every day. And so it's a process that we're used to, and it should not be stressful for you. It should be something that's enjoyable for you. So that's why we are here to make sure it works for you. So again, we do that. You'll be in communication with both me as your realtor and then your lender during the rest of the process, communicating with all the parties to make sure that everyone stays on track. I weekly will send out emails to the lender, to the settlement company to make sure everyone's on track, see if anyone needs anything, as well as the listing agent to see if they need anything, just because you don't want any balls dropped. And again, there's a lot of moving parts and there's a lot of parties involved. And then when you want to make sure you're working with a buyer's agent that you like and you trust, so that you're not left in the dark with what's happening. Again, there's so many details, and you want to make sure you know what's going on, because before you know it, you're at the closing table and they're signing a whole stack of papers. You're signing a bunch of papers and you're buying a house. So you want to know that you knew what was going on during the process, but you also don't want to stress you out. So make sure you have someone that can guide you through that process, guide you with good communication, and guide you with ease. And then, and someone willing to celebrate with you, and celebrate those accomplishments. So now you've bought a house. Congratulations. So we've gone through 4 weeks of first-time home buyer boot camp. You might be ready to take it to the next step and buy a home. I was showing property earlier today. I'm showing property again tomorrow. There's a lot of buyers out there. People are looking. And if you are ready, or if you're thinking about it in the next year or so, now's the time to start with your buyer consultation. And I'm happy to sit down and talk with you. Or I'm happy to get you in touch with a lender if you want to speak to a lender, and start the process for you. So feel free to reach out. I can also send you my buyer bootcamp guide if that would help you, and get you ready to make some smart real estate decisions. So feel free to reach out, comment below, send me a DM, and thanks for tuning in to this week's live episode of Getting Tipsy with Erin, and we'll see you again next week. And if you have any specific questions about home buying process, or you want to schedule a home buyer consultation, just reach out. Or if you have any other topics you want me to cover, feel free to let me know. And again, I'll see you next week. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye.